Naomi, season 2, issue 2. This is
Bendis, Walker.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yes, the creative team is Brian Michael Bendis and David F. Walker with Jamal Campbell on the art. This is pretty solid issue, honestly. Like, I think it's. I keep coming into these Naomi issues kind of dreading because Bendis has been in such a shit streak.
It's okay. We have a crutch, and that crutch to hold it up. Not a crutch. We have something that stabilizes, and I feel that's Walker.
Possibly,
I feel like he really focuses it. However, all the stuff that Naomi's been through since she's been introduced as a character is only meant to happen in 2 weeks.
Yes.
That's a hell of a 2 weeks.
Well, you know what's funny about it though is if you haven't read Justice League and you haven't read all the other stuff that was supposed to happen, it does work because you know there's a flashback scene at the start of this issue, which is meant to be like when she first went to go see the Justice League after getting her powers, and like characters, you know, Black Canary's introducing herself to her, and Atom's doing some tests. Batman's been all, "Oh, you've got powers now, congratulations!" Right? Yeah. I think what's neat about this scene is that this just for me says I didn't need to read Justice League. Everything I needed about her interactions with the Justice League happened in this like 3 pages.
Right here. Yep.
And what's so fun about it is that it sets up the theme of the issue, which is the idea that people she knows and cares about will treat her differently now because she has powers. You know, even if they don't mean to, and so, for some people it'll make the connection stronger because they're going to bond over it and they're going to be there for her even in like this new change. But for some people, it's going to make the relationships tougher. And then, of course, the ongoing thing over this issue is her relationship with her father deteriorating because she's so different now? And can they still connect? And obviously, by the end, it's hopeful because he admits that he's not handling it well. And it seems like, okay, they're going to work this through. They're going to like get to a better place. But
I love when because they go and they investigate. She ends up running into him at Dee's garage. And they bump it, and he does the whole dad that he's pissed off, and then they have to get out of there because the police show up, and she flies him out. And just the irrational anger he has with her picking him up, like, not quite that it's emasculation, but him as a dad realizing, you know, that his kid has powers, despite him being from Rand and whatnot. I really love that whole section, just because it felt so real. Just the whole parent-kid dynamic and him realizing that his, you know, like she's 17. It makes it very clear in the beginning that that's not his little kid anymore and that she can do stuff, you know, to help him. I really loved all that subtext.
Oh, yeah, because obviously we had the cliffhanger last issue, so when we come back to present day, that they're both snooping around in the mechanic's place and Dee's place. And obviously there's a big plot point here, but just like when they have to run away because the police show up and she flies him out, he gets like, you know, in the same way that Batman gets kind of pissed when Superman picks him up. This was very much like, don't you ever pick me up again, never do that, like never manhandle me.
And she's like, but Dad, she's like, no, never.
Yeah, so clearly he's dealing with some issues, but he does react very strongly to this like pin. She picks up this pin that belonged to Dee, this Thanagarian badge of some kind, and he reacts to it and he's like, you know what, you're not ready to hear what that is, and we're not talking about it. And it's when she's talking to her friend where she's like, wait a minute, I know Hawk Girl. I can go speak to Hawk Girl.
I know Thanagarian. Yeah. I know Thanagarian. And so I love that too, just the smash cut of her. It smash cuts to her, you know, Hawkwoman in her face. Be like, where did you get that? And then Hawkwoman calming down and be like, hey, let me just tell you, that's a very bad symbol. Yeah,
she basically compares it to the Gestapo, and she's like, "Oh wait, oh, that's that bad." And then when she brings it up to her dad when she sees him, and they have the heart to heart, she sort of like summarizes what Hawkwoman told her, which is, "Oh yeah, something about how the Black Guard on Thanagar, and this was like during the war, and they were doing all the really bad stuff, and that's why obviously he, as a Ranian.
Right, as Iranian.
Yeah, that's the word.
And then it also shows too of about how important they bonded over this girl when she came, right? Because those two were in mid-war, right? The Rand Thanagar Holy War. They bring that up, but they stopped fighting to, you know, make sure this little girl has a home. So yeah, it just shows Dee's character there too. I do like. So and then her talking to her friend. I just want to go back to that whole scene. That entire 2-page spread is so beautiful.
Oh,
The
sure,
way
yeah.
that Campbell does the colors. I specifically looked, and he's only listed as the artist, so he's doing the colors and the pencils and the inks and everything.
Oh, yeah.
Just the way that the sunset hits with the yellows, the pinks, oranges, but like this story tells, it's not just the words, but the tone and all the colors match. Because I went back and looked through it again, not reading anything, and you can tell the tone of the scene just by the colors being used.
Oh, for sure. Like, I really like that. I love the fact that Hot Woman takes her helmet off, and she's like, "Wait, I never saw you wear a helmet off. But your name's Kendra. You have a name? It's Kendra." But I love after that scene when she goes back and sees her dad, and he's sitting in the garage, and he's painting these little models, and it's it's the color tone is very muted purples. It's like it's much calmer, it's much more serene and peaceful, and it's like, okay, like, I'm not handling this very well. Like, please bear with me. Like, I'm trying, and they have this nice moment. But yeah, so at the end of the issue, Naomi like can't sleep, so she flies out. Basically says, okay, how does Superman find Superman things to do? And just looks at Twitter or something. It's like, okay, there's people to go save here. And we even get to see her like fighting a couple of random villain. I think Cyborg Superman's in there.
Yeah.
Grundy's here fighting for a moment. And she ends up at Star Labs, and she tries to ask what happened here. And it looks like someone, possibly Thanagarian, possibly D, although that may be a red herring. It may not be him, but. Right. Someone looking very Thanagarian attacked them and demanded that Star Labs use their portal to send them somewhere. And the police aren't happy that Naomi's asking questions, but she flies up to the window, gets the portal turned on, and the cliffhanger is that Cyborg sticks his head out of the portal and says, "No, close the portal now." So that should be a cliffhanger.
Yep.
So yeah, I love the relationship stuff with the dad. Like I wasn't necessarily feeling the initial like, okay, why are they both here? I didn't really care that much. But once it became about, okay, what this pen is, what it means, why he's reacting strongly to it, and then the idea that Kendra, being a Thanagarian, reacts strongly to this. This is not just because he's from Ran and he's like seen it as the enemy. Even Kendra's like, no, that's a dark part of my planet's history. I don't want. This is serious. Like, we don't want to do that again. Like, So I like that. It really sold the severity of it, and it made you think, oh geez, D might be into some really bad shit or has a really dark past. So I like that build, and just the general theme of, and I think it's important that after that first scene with Naomi hearing, oh, your relationships are going to change, that obviously sets up this backdrop for everything with her father and all those conversations. But it also sets up that scene where she's with her friend at the sunset, and they're talking about what she should do, and her friend's cracking jokes about, because Naomi says, "Oh yeah, I just got back from another planet," or so it's like, those are normal things to say. Just get back from another planet, and like so,
and her friend's super cool about it though too. Like, she's just like, oh my best friend's a superhero now.
But that's what I think is so smart about the issue, is that sometimes you get these little flashbacks and they feel kind of superfluous. This didn't, because it set up the theme of the issue, which is how people are going to react to her. People in her life will react now that she's different, and then the rest of the issue gave you multiple examples of like people around her treating her. So.
I also feel like that director was the same director from the Young Justice issues where Naomi was there when they went back to Gem World and whatnot. So I thought that was another smart thing, because it felt like that the director of Star Labs was irritated to see Naomi there. And, if you read that, you understand why, but it just seemed like here it was just, another superhero, after a break-in. But I feel like they were the same, which I thought was a fun nod to that too. But yeah, no, this was, Naomi by herself, great.
Yeah,
I still have good feelings.
Yeah, and I'm also speculating that D went off to her homeworld to try and take out the villain, whatever his name was, Zambada?
Yeah, Zambado.
Zambado, yeah. Because it kind of hinted at that, but curious to see where they go with it. But if they really delve into like some of the dark shit that happened during this war, and why like D is kind of from a villainous group of Thanagarians, like that'd be really interesting to go down.
Oh, and why he didn't go back to them.
Yeah, maybe he saw, he wanted to turn over a new leaf. He didn't want to go back to that specifically. He didn't want to be this bad person anymore. He realized, he was one of the baddies to use and
so he stayed on Earth and became a motorcycle mechanic.
Yeah.
That kept an eye on this girl, and is going to be, who knows what Zambada's going to do, because we know he's a bad dude. So, but that's the thing about the Anagarians. You just give them something heavy to swing, and they'll make do.
Yeah. Solid stuff. Matt, what are you giving it?
8.5.
8.5. Very good. Where's my tab? There it is. Yeah, I'll probably. Yeah, honestly, 8.5. Yeah, I agree with that. I was trying to talk myself down.
A lot of that's the art too.
Yeah, the art's really good. Yeah, the art's elevating it for sure. I mean, the characterization is really solid, but because I would say that I care a lot more about the characterization and the character drama than I do the plot, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Because it's like, she's going to eventually go and fight Zumbado or whatever. I don't really care about that much. It's more about the personal relationships that I'm enjoying.
Yeah.